Yeah, sure.
Like I've really some part of the translation of the Quran.
Sorry, what was that?
I've read some parts of the Quran. I'm not English speaking. I'm Dutch speaking actually.
Dutch speaking.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't speak Dutch.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Yeah, sure. Come. Come. Yes, brother.
So the rest part I have.
Muhammad. Sorry, give me 1 second. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. So there was the part I want to talk about was like the Quran and the hadith, the Sunnah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was a part I read two verses like in the Quran that was said to Muhammad he should follow the Quran only as guidance. That type like speaking. Put somewhere else. But 49. 10. Yeah, 46, 9.
Yeah.
Or 10, 15.
Yeah. What?
Yeah, it was right there that I don't understand like if the Quran says that Muhammad should follow only the Quran and nothing else besides that.
Right.
Nowadays people have gone to follow something besides the Quran.
Okay.
Just like
You said Surah 46, verse 9.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Say Muhammad, I'm not novelty among other messengers. Yeah.
I'm not something original among the messengers, nor do I know what will be done with me or with you. I will only follow that which is revealed to me.
Yeah.
So where does it say he is only told to follow the Quran?
I only follow that which is revealed to me.
Yeah.
What was revealed to him is the Quran.
Is that all that was revealed to him?
The revelation, yeah.
Is it only the revelation according to Islamic information?
The only, I'll say, hard fact matter is only the Quran, and some things that we
so
know.
the moment you say "and some things," does that include the Quran or exclude the Quran?
Exclude.
So were there other things that were revealed to him?
I don't know.
Possibly?
Could be, yeah, because he had contact with the angel, Gabriel.
Yeah. Right. Now, sometime when, for example, there were instances where he spoke to people, okay, and according to the narrative that we have, he was speaking to an angel.
Yeah.
What is that? Because you won't find it mentioned in here. That specific incident. How do we narrate that?
That he spoke to the angel.
Yeah.
He said, the Quran says he saw him to the horizon, where he saw him.
Yeah, but that was when he was receiving the initial revelation.
Yeah, the first.
But what about after?
Then possibly he had seen him like in human form.
There is possibility. Now, you will find that they are ayahs of the Quran, and I'm sure if you have read it, you will come across where it says, obey God and obey the messenger.
Yeah, I've heard about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's talking about like a human, like a living, present human thing, not like.
Okay. Let us assume your logic. We take it to its end.
Yeah.
If it was only when he was living, what about after he passed away?
They have to follow the Quran and what it says behind.
Okay.
It.
Let us assume, like I said, let's logically take it through.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there absolutely everything that we know about Islamic practice contained in the Quran?
Everything.
Yes. Everything we know about Islamic practice.
As we know today?
Yeah.
They're not, because
no?
There have to be like influence from outside influences that came by time, just like the people of the book.
Okay, let us assume outside influences came. How do we prove that?
That there was outside influence.
Yeah.
Because it's like the Quran says it will be like for example like I have like chapter 6 verse 111 until 14 it says like that the devil will always try to throw sand in what was revealed, to change it, to have some like speeches, something nice words that people will going to start to will like, and will start to follow.
Okay.
What people people's hearts like.
Yeah. It says here, you went to Surah 6, 100. And evil is sent down to them the angels, and the dead spoke to them, and we gathered together everything in front of them. They would not believe unless God should will. And thus we have made for every prophet an enemy, devils for mankind and jinn, inspiring one to one another decorative speech and delusion. But if your Lord had willed, they would not have done so. So leave them and that which they invent. So is it talking now?
Example,
sorry, brother. Is it here? Is it talking about the believers or the non-believers who will invent?
Huh? No, it will come something that come from Satan.
Yeah. So it can't be Islamic, can it?
Second?
It can't be Islamic practice, can it?
Satan.
They, the disbelievers who are open enemies to the prophets, will invent things.
Later on.
Leave them to invent those things. But if they are disbelievers, they certainly are not inventing Islamic practice, are they?
Yeah, but it can also be from the inside.
Now, how would you judge?
Huh?
How would you judge?
Like if those practices contradict like the Quran.
How would you know?
Like for example, I heard.
So let me give you an example.
From Bukhari.
Yeah, well, let me give you a very simple example which is commonly used. I'm a Muslim.
Yeah.
I'm going to perform what we know to be a mode of prayer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I perform it 5 times a day.
Yeah.
How do I know it's 5 times a day?
Because the Quran also says like the morning, at noon, late afternoon, sunrise, then you got after sunrise, and then at night you got an extra prayer.
Yes, excellent. Now that extra prayer, is that what we would consider to be part of the 5, or is it 6 prayers a day?
But it's like a voluntary,
no. Where does the Quran say it's voluntary?
Huh?
Where does the Quran say that 6th prayer is voluntary?
No, there's a verse. I'm not that.
No, not to worry.
Don't know by heart.
Yes.
Where it's mentioned, but I've come by it. I've read the Quran a few times. So,
yes, good.
Let's say when I wrote it, it said like there's a night prayer, but it's not. You don't have to do it. How is it that word?
That is fine.
Yeah.
It is not compulsory.
Yeah, compulsory.
Yeah, it's not obligatory.
Yeah, obligatory.
That is fine. But now I want you to tell me
Yeah.
where the Quran tells me how many units I have to recite, I have to pray.
There's like a verse talking about the 7 recited verses.
The oft 7 recited verses, but the physical actions.
From the bowing prostration.
Where? How do I know?
There's also like another verse talking about like when
the prostration one is very clear.
Yeah.
That you can actually prostrate even if you suddenly see something and you acknowledge the greatness of the Creator.
Yeah.
You go into prostration.
Yeah.
But I want to know about the specified units of prayer.
Nowadays they do like this, then down,
yes.
and then I'll go on the knee.
Yeah. That is the physical action. Where can I find it in the Quran?
I think it's follow those who bow, prostrate, and
No, bowing and prostrating.
Yeah.
But how many times is what I'm asking.
How many times?
How many times? Where do we find the information about how many times to bow in the specified units of prayer that we have today?
The first you got today, it's like talking about like in those two.
I do apologize, brother. I'm Shabir. You are?
My name is Didier.
Didier.
Yeah, French.
Like in Drogba. Didier.
Yeah,
Drogba.
yeah.
Didier.
Yeah.
Okay. What background is yours? Christian, Muslim? What are you?
I'm a mixture of those actually.
Sorry, what?
I'm a mixture.
A mixture.
Not,
a combination.
Yeah, from a Christian and Jewish.
Christian and Jewish.
Yeah,
even.
no. For example, like you say, like I was born Tutsi, but Tutsi,
Right.
Tutsi is Jewish.
Okay.
African
Yes,
Jewish.
yes.
But by the time,
By the time you got to where you did, yeah.
we were like colonized by Belgium, so they
Yes.
imported
Okay.
like Christendom
Quite a
and
lot.
everything.
Yeah. Understood. Right. That is fine. The question then is this:
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the units of prayer?
Yeah. No,
You are. Okay.
yeah.
Good. So the morning prayer
Yeah.
has got 2 units.
Yeah.
The afternoon prayer has got 4 units.
Yeah.
The early afternoon prayer has got 4 units.
Yeah.
The evening prayer,
Yeah.
sunset prayer, has got 3 units.
Yeah.
And the night prayer has got 4 units.
Yeah.
Where is that information in the Quran?
That's only found in the hadith.
No. We've just agreed that.
Yeah, no. I mean, those rakats
Yeah.
you just said
So,
from how you say, Fajr, then Zuhr, Dur.
Yeah.
Those, start with 2, then it go to
Yes.
4, then 3, then 4, and then to
Yeah.
4 again.
Yes.
So those amounts only found like in the hadith. But
Right.
when you can also see like there's only like 2 rakats also, it's like the Friday prayer.
Yeah.
The Jummah, there's only like 2 rakats. Same like in the morning prayer.
Right. Excellent. But how do we know that? How do we know that there's only 2 rakah?
Because if you follow those 2 verses, we're talking about the Al-Fatih.
Yeah.
It talks about like there's in 2 sections.
Yes.
You repeat it 2 twice,
Yeah.
and when you do like twice, so it's like 2 rakah.
Fine. But it still doesn't answer the question of the 5. The units. Every
The other
morning.
5, no, that's what I mean. That it could be like
No, when you say it could be speculative. Speculation.
Yeah, no. So since it's
yeah.
not found like in the Quran, it must have come an outside source.
From what outside source?
From there's people like they call Bukhari, Muslim, ta.
Right, okay. If we were to say that, where did they get the information from?
They said like they came by it by talking about people who heard
Right,
it from
okay. Okay,
whispers.
okay. Let's say there were whispers, shall we? You have to agree
Yeah.
that there was a prophet.
Yeah, there's
Okay.
no.
You have to agree that the prophet had followers.
Yeah.
You have to agree that the prophet who had followers of the followers.
Yeah.
They had their followers.
Yeah.
Each one practiced what the prophet taught.
Yeah.
Can we agree with that?
Yeah. According to their knowledge.
Well, apart from the knowledge, what else have you got?
You get your desire or presumptions.
Exactly. But if the people who are practicing it did not practice what the prophet taught,
Yeah.
yes, you need evidence for that.
They didn't practice what the prophet.
The prophet came, didn't
Yeah.
he? We have got precepts here.
Yeah.
Yeah. He taught them how to practice what the Creator has
It
taught.
was revealed to him.
How do we know that?
Because there's a verse like when you read it or recite it, follow it through.
Exactly. But then when you come across verses which you are not sure about what they mean, how do you follow that?
Well, they're not sure. Because you have to leave them, because the Quran says there are verses who are like, how do you say, not sure about the meaning.
They are
Those who
clear
going
and they are unclear.
unclear verses, but those who go after the unclear verses,
Yeah.
that's where they go.
Excellent. So how do you know which ones are unclear?
Huh?
How do you know which ones are unclear?
It's depending on your knowledge you have on that time.
But that knowledge has to have a base. It has to come from somewhere.
Yeah, you can go.
What is that knowledge? You can't say the Quran because it itself is saying they are unclear verses.
Yeah.
So how do you clarify those?
Clarify those. No, it can depend. Like it can be like.
It can depend. How about start?
No, it can be like today. It's still like unclear verses, but within 50 years.
Fine, no problem.
Can be
clear.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Clear.
Absolutely. But if the Prophet of God is giving you guidance on the revelation, does that make sense?
Guided. You mean clarifying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But then if he didn't make clarifications,
it means that he also didn't know.
No. It also means that it was recorded.
No, that means he knew everything about the Quran.
Let me make this a bit more reasonable.
Yeah.
He came. Do you know the month of Ramadan starts next week?
Yeah.
Yeah? the Quran talks about when to start the fast.
Yeah, when you see the new moon.
No.
Oh, yeah, full moon, yeah.
No.
Those who witness...
When you start the fast in the morning, at what time do you stop eating and drinking?
When you see the first
when
dawn of light.
yeah. But yeah, there was the black and the white.
Yeah.
Okay. The strand.
Yeah.
According to the narratives, what some of them did was take a piece of string, because it talks about a strand, and they waited until they could see the difference. So they came to the Prophet, and the Prophet told them what it is actually talking about is, when on the horizon you see the difference.
Yeah.
But you see, that is explained by the Prophet. How do we know it was explained by the Prophet? Do we know? We don't. But then there's a problem here. A Prophet comes to teach people.
No, he came to clarify, and only to warn.
Sorry?
He only came to warn.
Okay,
people.
so when the Quran is saying that it is a guidance for humanity, what does that mean? Was it just to warn?
Huh?
Was it just to warn?
And also to clarify what people...
was it only about what they disputed about prior?
No. What people disputed about 1,000 years ago, also the things people will also dispute about in the future. So people will
is it guidance?
Yeah, it's a guidance.
It is guidance. So it isn't just a warning, is it?
Clarify and yeah.
It is also a part of warning. But the question here is
the
that
clarification.
yes.
According to the Quran, the clarification is for God. According chapter 77,
right.
47.
Right. Go back again.
Yeah.
The units of prayer, explain that to me. Because we are only dealing with a simple aspect here. I haven't taken it to the complicated stuff.
About specific parts, for me it's For me, what would be the point about would be is the hadith part of is a hadith as clear as the Quran, or is just guesswork? And should that guesswork followed or not?
Right. Excellent.
Because if the Quran says if there is just one contradiction, you can throw the book in the ocean.
Yes.
But if you look at the hadiths, there are numerous contradictions.
Yeah. But then, if that is the case, I'm sure you are also aware that there is so much scholarly tradition about what you call the hadith.
Yeah, but
okay.
It doesn't make it.
Can I ask you?
Yeah.
Do you know the grades of hadith? Are you familiar with that?
Weak and some.
Yeah. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, I heard it.
Are you familiar with the gradation of hadith?
Gradation.
So, for example, if a statement is attributed to the Prophet, and the scholars have established through its internal message, the way it is saying certain things, who reported it, they have found that it doesn't satisfy the criteria that the scholars had established. But there is still in that chain of narration certain individuals who have credibility. Yeah? Do you follow that? Do you follow that particular alleged statement attributed to the Prophet?
To be honest, not, because for me it's alleged.
No, but what about if you have got something that is certain in terms of its report and its narration back to the Prophet? Would you adopt that?
If
according to the criteria.
If it's a match with the Quran, then okay.
Yeah, wait. Excellent. If it matches with the Quran, it is okay.
Not to be taken 100%.
But it is okay.
Now, if it confirms what the Quran says,
yes.
It's like when it's
so, for example, sorry, Didier. So, for example, we are told about prostration. We are told about ruku.
Yeah.
We are told about the times that the prayer should be undertaken.
Found in the Quran.
Yeah.
Also.
And then the Prophet tells you how many units you perform. It doesn't contradict the Quran. Do we agree?
If it doesn't contradict, then okay,
But then the problem is here.
Sorry,
Didier. No. The problem then is this. If you are going to accept that, then you are accepting external sources.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Then okay.
You are.
Yeah. Then okay.
So,
but
sorry.
But I'm trying to look at in their entirety.
That's how you should look at Islam in its entirety.
No. I mean, looking at the Quran.
But you are not.
The Quran from verse 1 to Al-Nas.
Here is what we'll do as an example. I know what you mean, okay? I've opened the ayah, okay? any ayah here,
Yeah.
anyone here, it is not for a believing man or a believing woman when God and His Messenger have decided matter that they should have any choice about their affair. And whoever disobeys God and His Messenger has certainly strayed into clear error. Surah 33, ayah 36. What is it saying?
If you are like living, for example, when
Oh, wait a minute. You have added an emphasis about living. Where does it say the Prophet should be alive?
wasn't he alive at that moment when this verse was
No.
revealed?
No, I'm asking you a separate question.
Yeah.
Does the verse say that when it says obey God and His Messenger,
Yeah.
in brackets, only when He is alive? It doesn't say that, does it?
But you can.
So now here's another logical, if I can just,
Yeah.
is the Quran for all mankind?
Yeah.
Is it for all time?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So is this verse alive today for me?
No.
It isn't.
No.
So it is to be excluded,
Huh? No.
the verse. It is not for a believing man or a
has
believing
decided-
woman
okay.
when God and His Messenger have decided a
Yeah.
matter that they should have any choice about their affair.
Yeah.
Who is making the decision?
God
And His
man-
Messenger. But now here when it says it is not for believing men or believing
man.
women, is it including the believer today?
In theory, yes. Yeah.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So what did the Messenger say?
We don't know.
Excellent. So you are telling me that a guidance has come in which it's telling you about the guidance and you
Yeah.
are saying you don't know.
Yeah.
Does that make
Because we were
sense?
not living at the time.
Agreed. That is why it makes more sense that you need the guidance even more.
An external source then.
Even external source.
But he said
But
like,
if it doesn't match the Quran as you agreed, then
Yeah.
you would have to doubt it. But if it does match the Quran, then what?
you can follow. But the problem is you can't, according to the Quran, you can't follow something, you have to guess it. Because like
Where does it say guess?
conjecture or so.
Yeah, but where does it say conjecture? For example, and this is where I told you, you see, you are missing one bit and it's causing confusion. So I'm going to put them together for you. A person,
Yeah.
for example, have you been to school? You have, haven't you?
Yeah.
Then you go to college.
Yeah.
Then you go to university.
Yeah.
Huh? The teacher teaches you something. Yeah? A teacher, he teaches you something.
Yeah.
You learn that. Where did the teacher learn it from?
From somebody else.
Take it right back to the first teacher.
Yeah.
Who would that be? In the context of Islam, who would the first teacher be?
Then it would be like it's called the Prophet then.
The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so we agree with that. But how do we know he is the first teacher? Because the
people
Quran
say-
says so.
Yeah.
Yes, do we
Yeah.
agree with that? Because the Quran says so.
Yeah.
Okay, so what did the Prophet teach?
Taught the Quran.
Where does it say that? Where does it say he taught the Quran?
I don't know. Actually, it's God who teaches the Quran.
You have a problem.
No, 55.
God-
Verse 2. He's the one. To
Right. To be honest with you, brother, you are misunderstanding what the verse is actually saying. But we'll go to it. Surah 55, verse 2. Taught the Quran.
Yeah.
Who taught it?
God, the most
To whom?
to Muhammad,
How do we know that?
because it was revealed to him.
But who told us that?
God.
The
told-
Quran did.
Yeah.
What did the Prophet teach? Tell me.
The Quran.
How? How do we know?
By preaching the Quran.
But how do we know that? Because that information is not contained in the Quran. What
yes,
did he
it-
teach? What did he teach?
The
The Quran.
The verse that was
Excellent.
revealed unto him.
Excellent. So, any verses that he talked about and he explained,
Yeah.
where do I find that information?
Second, this one.
Any verses that he explained to the people, where do I find that information?
Explained.
Obviously, either you are going to accept what the Quran is saying or you are
but
going to
doesn't
reject
the
it.
Quran clarify itself?
One second. If that is the case and you referred to the verse earlier on,
Yeah.
there are some verses that are clear, some that are not clear.
Yeah.
If they didn't understand something, where did they seek clarification?
Then it came somewhere else. Like for
No.
example,
Where did they seek the clarification from?
See. Yeah. For example, no. Like.
No, you've misunderstood, Didier. You are not following the logic
Yeah, no,
through.
no.
Okay. When the people who were alive with the Prophet
Yeah.
misunderstood something, who did they go to for clarification?
Back to Muhammad. Then?
Now tell me, what did he clarify and how? Because it's not in this.
No, I think he must have clarified according
When you
to-
say he must have, speculation.
Yeah, that's what
But
I'm
I want to know what he did, because you have told me and the Quran confirms that he is the one who taught the people. I want to know when there were certain things, and there were definitely certain things, I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
How did he clarify them, and where do we find that clarification?
No, but you want to go to the hadith street.
I don't want to go. I haven't even mentioned the hadith.
no,
You
no.
went to them, not me.
Yeah, no.
I'm
No,
asking
no.
you. No, follow the logic through to its end.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
The
Do you accept?
clarification will come from another verse. Like for example.
Excellent. Tell me where that information is that he used this verse to clarify that verse.
Like for example, like.
No. Just tell me, where will I find this information?
No, it depends on what subject you're talking about.
Okay. Talk about any subject that can come into your mind.
No, like no. Say like you started with Salah. For example, the remembrance.
I've given you only one.
No.
I've
no,
given
no,
you.
No, because no. That's what I have found always. Like if you don't have, if you talk about hadith.
I'm not talking about the hadith.
No. people. No, talking about people who will question about the validity of hadith. Then I say if you don't.
Sorry,
follow,
Didier, I'm stopping you.
Yeah?
You are taking the discussion away from yourself.
Okay, sorry.
Don't do that. Bring it back. I'm asking you, if, for example, I follow your logic to its conclusion,
Yeah.
you said he took one ayah to explain the other ayah.
Yeah.
I'm saying, okay, where do I find this information that confirms that he used this ayah to explain this ayah? Where do I get that from?
If you follow like logic, like for example.
I am following logic.
No.
Yeah.
Like for that particular logic, I was going to say.
Oh,
If,
right.
Like to say, like
Okay.
you got verse 20, verse 13, like.
Sorry,
remembrance.
you are interpreting this. I'm not asking you this.
Wait,
Didier, you
let me
missed
speak out.
my question. What did I ask you?
Where we find the clarification for another verse.
No.
That people didn't understood.
No. Where do we find the information where it tells me that the Prophet used this verse to explain that verse? Where do I find that information? It's not in the Quran.
Not immediately, but it also said like.
Don't go to it also says, just answer my question first.
No, you.
Where can I find that information?
You won't find it like.
I don't find it in the Quran, we've agreed. So you
Like
need to
that-
tell me now, where would I find this information?
No, but you will find it when you do Quran good enough. You will know like this part could explain another thing.
What you are basically telling me is you don't know.
Eh?
I'll tell you
Yeah,
what
no,
I
that's
mean.
what I
You
thought.
don't know, do you? Okay,
No,
Didier,
no,
let's
you won't
follow
find,
this.
Like, if
No.
you don't understand this, you will find the answer here.
Right.
You won't find that in the Quran.
This is what you are thinking,
Yeah.
Didier. But you are missing a major part
What am I
here.
missing then?
I'll tell you. We started with Surah 55, Ayah 2. The Creator taught.
Yeah.
I asked you, who did he teach? We said the Prophet.
Yeah.
When people who were alive with the Prophet, because you are suggesting that this was only meant to be for people obeying the Prophet when he was alive. Okay?
Yeah.
So I said to you, okay, when they misunderstood something, because we agreed that there are clear verses and unclear
Yeah.
ones, when they misunderstood something, where did they go for clarification? They went to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Yeah.
We agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, I then asked you, okay, where do we find the information on what and how he clarified it? You said he took one verse to explain another verse.
Yeah.
I then said to you, okay, I will follow your logic to its conclusion. If, according to what we have agreed,
Yeah.
the Prophet took one verse to explain another, I am asking you now, to which I need an answer,
Yeah.
where do I find this information that tells me that the Prophet took this verse to explain that verse? Because this information is not in the Quran. So now you need to tell me, where do I find this information?
That the Quran clarifies.
No, that the Prophet used one verse to clarify another to explain to the people who were alive with him. To you.
That would be like taking pieces from pieces.
Again.
No, you can't find like.
Which town do you live in
Ghent.
In Ghent, you live in Ghent. Okay. If I were to ask you, how do I get to Ghent, what would you tell me?
You got several options.
Yeah, you'd give me several options.
Yeah.
Now, if I go to this guy here and he asks me, how do you know the directions to Ghent? And I will say, well, Didier told me.
Yeah.
Yeah? He writes it down.
Yeah.
The guy, 15 years later, reads what he wrote down.
Yeah.
That I asked Shabir, on Shabir's authority from Didier, he told me this is how to get to Ghent. That guy has read that on his authority, who has taken it on my authority, and I took it on your authority, this is how to get to Ghent. Is that lies?
No, if the
It
message
isn't. However,
but the message can change.
exactly. However, if that guy decides to verify whether you had said this,
Yeah.
how does he do it?
The best possible way was to go through time.
But in order to do that, you need it to have been recorded.
Yeah, or on video.
But now, no, there were no videos at that
No,
time.
no,
You know,
no.
historically
I mean,
speaking,
historically
yeah.
speaking. Or on video, just to be
Currently,
sure.
yes, it would be, yeah.
Yeah.
But the point is, if we had to find a method of establishing the veracity of what you had said, we human beings are capable of doing that, aren't we?
No, that's it.
We are. So now the question comes right back to what I said. All you need to do now to answer your own question
Yeah.
is to tell me if, according to your understanding, the Prophet used the Qur'an itself to explain the Qur'an.
Yeah.
I'm saying to you, okay, no problem, Didier, I'll take what you are saying to its logical conclusion, and this is what I find. That you claim he took one verse to explain another verse. And I, in return, said to you, no problem, Didier, I would agree with you.
Yeah.
However, you now need to tell me, where do I find this information which confirms for me
Yeah.
that he used one verse to explain the other? And not only that, what was the issue that was being explained and which verses did he use? Where can I find that information? It's not in the Quran.
No. No, how the way he could have used it, allez, that's conjecture.
Of course it is conjecture.
You won't, allez, you won't.
Right, watch this. You are saying it could have been this, it could have been that.
Yeah,
but
but
you are,
it could
you
be
are
part of
having
the
you are
Quran.
having great difficulty in accepting the fact that there are reports which confirm that he may have explained it in X, Y, and Z manner, and we call it the hadith.
Yeah, okay, but the problem.
So what's the problem with that?
No, the problem is like
Yeah.
the people who recorded it
Yes.
lived 200 years after Prophet Muhammad lived.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Are you talking about the ones who wrote it down?
Yeah, no, that's the starting point.
Is that the starting
Allez,
point?
for us, then they go back in time. Then they go back
Excellent. Now, watch this. Back to my example.
in time.
The way to Ghent, you told me.
Yeah.
I told him.
Yeah.
He wrote it down, and that guy 100 years down the line reads it.
Yeah.
How does he now verify whether you had actually said that?
Verify. He would have to go.
He would have to adopt a system,
Yeah.
a system of verification. But in addition to that, there is something with which he can measure against. But if you were to come across something attributed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, which may not initially make sense, can you use it to practice? The answer is no. But what you can't do is totally exclude it. And the same logic that later on we find certain information which then fits into what it said. What's the problem with that? The whole of academia rely on this process. Now, going to the 200-year period which you mentioned, rightfully, according to the historical sources, yes, I had said to you, if the Prophet practiced the guidance and the people who followed him also practiced the guidance, is that logical?
Yeah.
It is. If the people who followed him adopted what he did and practiced, and the people who had children and their children adopted what he did, how many generations in 200 years?
At least 8.
Only 8.
At least.
Only 8.
No, that
Watch.
time they were much like 60.
What? No, speculation. Let us work on an
25.
average.
Average of 25 years
no,
between two generations.
Yeah, let's say 25 years. So that's 8.
Yeah.
You know what 8 is? I'm father,
Yeah.
grandfather, great-grandfather, great-great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather, great-great-great-grandfather. There are people who have been alive to see 5 generations. Are you telling me they wouldn't have been able to teach the 5 generations? Logic tells you yes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But then within the 5 generations, these others have started becoming grandfathers.
Yeah.
And they taught the same thing. 200 years is nothing.
200 years.
It's nothing.
Yeah, but
If you have practiced something which you hold dearly because you know it is guidance from God, it's 200 years is nothing.
if you're talking about the Quran, no problem. But it's like.
But how do you know it is the Quran today?
Huh?
How do you know?
Is the Quran like from outside? Even like non-believers, they found like the Birmingham Quran.
Didier,
Yeah.
how do we know it is the Quran?
This.
Yeah.
The book.
How was it related to us? How was it communicated to us?
Communicated to us.
How? By whom?
The Quran only says like we will preserve it. So to be
By what method?
writing.
By whom?
Memorization also.
By whom?
Huh?
By whom?
By people.
The people who were
believers, non-believers.
the people who were it can't be the non-believers.
Huh?
It can't be the non-believers.
No, because like if you look like
right, Didier.
doesn't matter what kind.
Respectfully,
Yeah.
no. Respectfully, you are confusing things very much. Does he talk about non-believers in here?
Huh? No, it doesn't have to.
It doesn't talk about non-believers in the Quran.
No, because Quran says like we will. It talks about also about
Non-believers,
But
right? Okay.
About
Now,
preservation, it doesn't talk about how God will go.
Right. 1 second.
Yeah?
Are you suggesting to me that the non-believers will preserve the Quran,
Yeah.
the guidance?
Yeah, because they're
They-
like, no, because you got like the Mangalina collection also. The people who went to Syria and
Yes.
like
No,
old
no, no.
manuscripts.
You are talking about people,
Yeah.
scholars who want to establish what these writings or manuscripts were. I'm not talking about that. Look, you've got to accept,
Yeah.
even the most hardened denier will have to accept that the revelation, according to the information we possess, came to the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Do you agree?
Yeah.
He then recited, memorized, and told others to recite and memorize.
Yeah.
These who recited and memorized, who were they? Non-believers. No, they were believers.
Believers, yeah.
The believers narrated the Quran to us up to this day.
Yeah.
Why do you find it a problem if they narrated the statements of the Prophet also up to today?
Narrators. Because there are a lot of contradiction in those books.
I'm not asking about contradictions. I'm asking
Yeah,
about.
why don't-
I'm asking
why-
you.
why
No,
I
no, no.
don't-
I'm asking you first. What do you find wrong with the fact that we have got narrations attributed to the Prophet other than the Quran? Do we accept that?
Yeah, they are narrators.
Excellent. So we can accept that. So the only thing that me and you now need to establish is the method of whether we can verify a statement truly attributed to the Prophet or not. If you are going to agree with me, then you are going to accept that yes, in addition to the Quran, we can also accept the hadith.
No.
There is no other way.
No, they can come here to the same method, but it doesn't mean like the hadith will be protected from the same.
Right. Again, the logic you are missing. I just asked you, first and foremost,
Yeah.
do you accept that there can be other writings which can be attributed to the Prophet and are contained in books other than the Quran.
Yeah.
Do we accept?
Yeah.
So you accept the hadith?
Yeah, I accept.
You do. So the only thing that we need to establish is the verifying of statements attributed to the Prophet.
Yeah.
Now, Islamic scholarship for hundreds of years adopted a method which up to this day, okay, if considered, is the best method.
Yeah, I know, I heard about
right.
or something.
No, it is the method of the transmission from the source to our present day.
Yeah.
Okay? I am telling you now, if they, for hundreds of years, developed a system of grading statements attributed to the Prophet, it was simply because there was an issue that certain statements attributed to the Prophet may not have been said by the Prophet.
That's what I'm talking about. Then we're talking about construction.
But
no,
no. But that's the difference. If there is an element of certainty and there is an element of uncertainty, do you throw both out? Logically speaking, would you throw both out?
If you're not sure.
So watch this. Now, follow this, your reasoning.
No, but we're talking about the religious guidance.
No, I don't.
That would be like, I think, according to Quran, that would be like, shirk, a blasphemy, like following others besides Allah.
The problem, Didier, respectfully, is that you are confusing a lot of issues and you are not sure about them.
No.
So let me follow this. Let's stick to one thing. Yeah. You see, when you bring shirk in, I would ask you, what's the definition of shirk? What would you say?
Follow something that's not.
You see. So let's not go there. Let's just stick to one thing. If I were to tell you, okay, Didier, you are absolutely right. Is the Quran we hold today certain? The information contained therein?
Yeah.
How do we know?
Because if you,
first
to start, it claims it's word of God. Secondly, it gives you like, if you find contradiction, look for contradiction, look for mistakes.
Yes. So do you accept it to be true?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I've read the last...
You accept the Quran to be a guidance from God?
Yeah.
You do? Right, excellent. So are you a Muslim?
Yeah.
Have you submitted your will to God?
Yeah.
You are?
I hope. I hope.
I know what you mean. But you consider yourself either Jewish background or Tutsi background?
Yeah, that's my native.
Which is fine. No problem. Excellent. Now take it a step further. The Quran, the way we have it today, was physically transmitted. Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
How was it transmitted? Via memory?
Memory
and
book.
Also
Book.
Written?
Yeah.
Okay. What was written up to this day, how do we verify?
Was written up to date?
Yeah.
If it was written today, it matches what was at the time of the Prophet.
Excellent.
That's what you mean, eh?
Excellent. Yeah, no, what was at the time of the Prophet up to today?
Yeah.
Do we agree with that?
Yeah.
Okay. If I were to ask you now, can you name me some of the people who wrote down the Quran? Are you able to tell me? Are you familiar with that history?
Just a little bit. Like I say, like the first Caliph, I think, Umar, or
the first one was Abu Bakr.
Yeah, so that's what I'm not.
Not to worry. I understand,
Umar
of course. Yeah. Okay. But that's not the point. I didn't ask you. I'm asking you the people who wrote down, on instruction of the Prophet, peace be upon him, the revelation as it came to the Prophet. Okay. Can you name me some of those? Okay. Let us assume you don't know, and I tell you, okay, there's one name I will give you, Zayd bin Thabit. Okay. He was a name. That's just a name. The question now you have to ask me is, where do I get this information from?
To ask you.
Historical sources?
Yeah.
The answer would be yes.
Yeah. I would say like
the question.
That be the Quran, the hadith.
The question is, how can I verify all this information? There has to be a method of distinguishing between what is logical, reasonable, rational, and source we can trace, and things which allegedly can go back to the source, but in a method break down. That's the best we can do, isn't it? The question then therefore arises is this. If the Quran was transmitted in the same manner, because there was a verification process, the ayahs of the Quran were transmitted by so many independent sources that it is almost impossible to suggest that there is any kind of doubt that can creep in. Okay? A lot of scholars will tell you that that may not necessarily be the case with what is attributed to the Prophet, peace be upon him, in the form of what we call hadith. Which is not a problem. However, if they have adopted a system of determining what statements were attributed to the Prophet, then the question I would ask you is this: before you either accept or reject the very idea or notion of external guidance, should you not study that first? Have you done that?
I've did.
You did. Excellent. So what are the gradations of hadith I asked you earlier on?
I don't know about the gradation of it, but
you don't know?
No,
but you just said you studied it.
Yeah, but does that mean like
this is very basic. Anybody who has studied the
but I mean like the weak, strong, blah blah blah.
But not blah blah blah.
Because I'm talking about like how is this, the most I had like Arabic terms or so those didn't stick that much. I don't know, like for example in Ghent I saw like people who are Sunni.
Right. Okay. Here is what I would suggest. Are you going back to Ghent?
Yeah.
When?
Today. Tonight.
You are going tonight.
Yeah.
Have you got an email address?
Yeah.
Muhammad, have you got a pen? Would you have a pen?
1 second.
Got it? Oh, Jazakallah, brother.
I'm waiting for you to finish.
Adil. Have you got a pen? I pay piece of paper, sure? Yeah, just have a look. Brother, just put this back. Jazakallah. Thank you. Excellent. Good man, good man. I'm going to put down my email address, Didier. Okay? There you are. YUBRO at hotmail.co.uk. Okay? I want you to send me a message, Didier.
Yeah.
I am then going to forward you information on this subject matter.
Yeah.
Okay? And then if you want, we can discuss it over email or when you come again.
Yeah.
Because I would love to have to take this discussion further, but you need to be familiar with the subject matter. To be honest with you, respectfully, I mean.
Yeah, no, but that would be like, you have to go like fully in detail.
You have to. You see, the subject matter you are touching on requires a minimum amount of study to understand.
But I'm pretty sure, like, if you would ask most of youngsters my age, if you ask the same question, so they will also be like, they will not be sure of their answer. Right?
That is, I agree with you, but that is why it is imperative that you study.
Yeah, okay, but
because the way I look at it, if you ask the question, then take the time out to go and study to find the answer. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean like gradation, but what I'm talking about is like the two books. Like, can you follow it or not? If there's contradiction, yes or no?
If there is a statement attributed to the Prophet which clearly contradicts the Quran, I would not follow it.
Yeah, okay, let me talk to you.
Would you do that?
If it if they contradict the Quran,
yes, but
I won't follow it.
But the problem I have to first establish, and that's what I've been trying to tell you, is for me to reject it, I would need to know how it arrived where it is. Are you following?
Yeah.
The hadith.
Yeah. Okay, but
now question.
Yeah, I now remember what I was going to say.
Now, good. The question now is this: how do you trace it back? What's the science?
Does it say that they follow the transmission?
Now, if you are going to adopt that method, and that method has established thousands and thousands of statements attributed to the Prophet which have got the gradation of certainty,
Yeah.
will you accept? You can't say no, can you? Because you are going to go on your own logic.
Yeah, no.
So there isn't a problem, is there?
Yeah, no. But the problem is,
The problem is the ones that are not certain.
yeah, because
I can agree with that.
yeah, it's a
I've no
contradict
problem.
the Quran gravely and
Give me one example. Sorry, ma. Jazakallah. Give me one example of this
Start like,
direct, clear contradiction.
It's not like the Quran says it's like it's fully, it's complete.
In what?
Eh?
Complete
Everything
in what?
that God wanted to reveal to humanity,
Yes.
He revealed in the Quran.
Okay.
Okay, but then there are hadith that says like, for example, against apostate, not fornication. Yeah,
Adultery.
Adultery, yes, adultery.
Adultery.
The people nowadays, those people get stoned to death.
Yes.
But it used to be like in the Quran, but it was that verse was eaten by
a goat.
By a goat.
Yeah. Look.
Even that.
Right. One second. You know why I find it hilarious? I find it really funny.
Yeah, that's the first that comes to my mind.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. No problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you confirm it was eaten by a goat?
No. I'm talking about.
No. I want you to follow this through. You know your logic. Yeah. Where did you find that information?
Read it in one of those hadith books.
Okay. Excellent. Were they the same hadith books in which a believer attributed this verse of the Quran to the Quran, but it is not in the Quran?
It's attributed to the Quran, but it's not in the Quran.
Yeah. That was also from the books of hadith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Found in the book of hadith.
Great stuff. Now, in relation to the collection of the Quran,
Yeah.
the verse about the hadith about the goat eating a parchment,
Yeah.
is that all it says about the collection of the Quran?
All of the correction.
The answer is no. Okay, let me take it a bit further. For this one, like I said, I find it hilarious because when people are telling me this, they've suspended their reason ability, to be honest with you.
No,
yeah?
explain.
I'm explaining. No, not you. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I will ask you this. You know when it says that I had the possession of this verse,
Yeah.
but when the problem was occurring, a goat came and ate it. Which verse is it talking about?
Talking about the punishment.
Where does it say that?
Second?
Show me. Show me where it is talking about the punishment of adultery.
Show it again.
Yeah, pull it.
The goat eating.
Yeah, pull it up. Got it?
I think it's the first thing. The hadith about eating. But Imam Muslim, his Sahih number 1452.
Hmm. What does it say? Stoning and breastfeeding.
Mid. The verse of stoning, stoning. and suckling and until 10 times was revealed,
Yes.
and then they were written on paper and kept in much better when the Muslim Spark we were copied by his death and quote
Hmm.
away the people.
So, what does it say?
The verse of stoning
And what else?
suckling
And?
an adult 10 times was
Hmm.
revealed and then they
Yeah.
were written on paper.
All right.
Written on my paper.
Okay. Now, tell me, who narrated this?
Sunnah, bin,
No, that's the book in which it is contained. What is the chain of
Aisha.
narration?
a report by
Going
Aisha.
back to her, what is the chain of narration? You know, I was telling you earlier, it requires detailed explanation.
Yeah.
What is the chain of narration? Are you familiar with it?
No, but it
You are
says
not.
like,
Okay.
go back
Can
to
I
Aisha.
also ask, right, it
Yeah.
might go back to Aisha, but is that the statement that we are talking about attributed to Aisha, how verifiable is it? Are you familiar with that? No. This is what I mean. It's easy just to pick something up of Google, okay? But like I was saying earlier on, you must try and understand the science
Yeah.
of how hadith actually are established to be either of a certain grade or another grade.
Yeah.
Honestly, if you are not familiar with that,
Yeah.
you are going to confuse yourself very easily. And
But can
like I
I
said-
ask you another something?
Sure, of
something
course.
else.
Yeah.
If, like, for example, people trust you.
Yeah.
People trust you.
Yeah,
your
yeah.
values,
Yes.
they
Yeah,
like
yeah.
your speeches and everything.
Yes.
like that. But if you were to write a book or something,
Yeah.
could it also be like just because people trust you or you got a good name,
Yes.
that later on somebody could like add something to it.
Agreed. But you are.
We never know it.
No, you are absolutely right. But you are actually verifying the very science we are talking about.
Yeah, no, but it's,
You are agreeing, aren't you?
yeah.
The science that they have developed of establishing
Yeah,
whether.
but they can go back and see if the people,
But here-
the source.
Here we are. But this is the point I'm making. Whichever way you look at it,
Yeah.
you are going to have to agree that the source will go back to the Prophet and the companions thereafter of the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Yeah, but you.
But
Yeah.
if you came across something which you yourself are thinking, I'm not entirely sure about this,
Yeah.
how do you verify it? So the scholars of over hundreds of years developed a system of what they call isnad,
Yeah.
the transmission chain.
that is not.
Yes, isnad, transmitters. Now, if you are not familiar with the science itself, it's not going to make sense. And here is a classic example. I still asked you only one question,
Yeah.
and we've taken nearly about an hour. The question was this, that if you claim that there is no other source of information or guidance, other than the Quran, and when I say this, I'm not meaning guidance in totality. The Quran makes that very clear. What we are asking about is putting the Quran into action.
Yeah.
How would you do that? So the Prophet, peace be upon him, explains. Okay?
Yeah.
I asked you, okay, let us assume, according to what you said, he took one verse to explain another verse.
Yeah.
I then said, okay, I can agree with that, but where is the information which tells me which verse he used to explain which verse? You don't have an answer to that. Do you know why?
I don't have to.
Because when you find the answer, it will take you back to what we call the hadith. So the question is this.
No, but that isn't like also like a presumption that you have to have.
I'm not taking it as a presumption. That is why I'm asking you. Can you tell me what the answer is?
No, you're asking like you have to give me like black and white like the explanation he gave, but.
I'm only going on your logic.
Eh?
You told me that he might have done this and this.
Yeah, I know.
I am saying, well, look, what is the evidence to verify what you are saying? And where do you find that evidence? You will come back to the sayings of the Prophet. You can't go.
But I don't like take it for example, but it's like no, I'm just trying like to take like one logic. Just from the start, if you find like one, let's say contradiction in the Quran, can throw it away. Yes?
Why?
Eh?
Why?
Because it says so.
Now,
It said you won't
Now,
find any
again-
contradiction.
excellent.
It won't be from God.
excellent. Now again you are answering your own question without
Yeah.
realizing it. So tell me, do Muslims or does Islamic scholarship separate what is attributed to the Prophet and the Quran?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Because one is from God and the other is from man.
One is from God and one is from men.
Yeah.
The logic here is, and you are agreeing with the scholars of Islam, they are kept separate for a reason. What is the reason?
One is sure and the other is conjecture.
No, one is sure and the other has got so many sayings that not all of them could be attributed to the Prophet.
Yeah, so you're never sure.
But here it is, back to normal again, back to 0 point. Scholarship devised a system on establishing what is and what is not. Now, either you are going to accept scholarship and the method, or you are going to say, look, I don't agree with the method, which you are entitled to do, but then I would ask, okay, what is it you disagree with? Now, in order to do that, you would need to know about the science itself.
No, not particularly. Because I've also, like, the Quran is also give some warnings about what people before us did, and will also do. Like,
what did they do?
Like, they took their rabbis and monks as God.
Absolutely. So
why, when what we got today is like the Talmud and the letters of Paul.
Yeah, well, not only the Talmud, you've got the Mishnah and the Gemara as well. Yeah, the Mishnah. You've got that also.
No.
Well, look, the problem is, brother,
still can learn.
Yeah, of course. The problem is that if you are not familiar with the information, you are coming up with what I would consider, and I mean this bluntly, half-baked ideas. So the cake won't taste.
No, you don't have to have all the taste to know that the cake is bad.
Well, but you need to know the ingredients of the cake, don't you?
Yeah.
How do you find them?
If you look at what I say the hadith and what with the Talmud got, they got a lot
Very
of similarity.
I have no problem with that. But then again, I'm asking you, and you still are not answering the question. If what you are saying was recognized nearly over 1,000 years ago by scholars of Islam, and accordingly they developed a system of establishing the different grades of statements attributed to the Prophet. Do you agree?
Yeah, but it's not bulletproof.
I'm saying that.
Yeah, no,
but that is why the scholars separated the Quran and the hadith. So the question then comes back to what you said earlier on, which you may have forgotten. If something agrees with what the Quran says,
you can follow it.
You can accept it, can't you?
Yeah.
It's so logical. What's the problem?
No, but the problem is if you
right. Let me tell you this. Sorry to cut you.
If you follow, there are some things they're going to be most likely came from the Prophet.
Okay.
But there are also going to be those things that could come from Satan.
Okay, excellent.
But then people are going to follow them also without making it.
Not at all. I'll tell you something. If I came across a statement attributed to the Prophet, and it creates doubt in me about its veracity or validity.
Okay, well, let me ask you something.
Sorry, if I can just follow through.
Yeah.
I would then want clarification on it.
Yeah.
I would seek it out with scholars who specialize in the subject matter.
Okay.
Yeah? If I don't find it there, I still have got the ultimate yardstick being the Quran.
Yeah.
If I'm not sure about something and I can't find an answer, I will not adopt it.
Yeah.
I will look at something that the Quran says in relation to that matter and adopt that. Do you find a problem with that? There is no problem, is there? You are creating a problem where there isn't a problem without realizing it. So, I will tell you this. Scholarly works are there. If we agree that the Quran and the Hadith by Islamic scholars have been kept separate for the very reason that we are discussing now.
Yeah.
But what you do not do is, there's an English saying, do not throw the baby out with the bathwater. In other words, don't just totally throw everything out. Use your logic, use your reason, use the ability to rationalize things, and establish whether what you are reading has some semblance of truth or not. Now, if somebody were to ask me, are you saying that the Quran isn't total guidance? No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying it is total guidance. And the Prophet elucidated on the guidance. There's nothing wrong with that. Do you find it a problem? For example, a guy who manufactures something, and then you go to him and tell you, how did you manufacture this? And he explains to you how. Is there a problem?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, but if he were living at the time of the Prophet, no issue
The
at all.
guy who lived at the time of the Prophet has narrated it up to today.
Yeah,
You
okay,
find it a problem?
No. Okay, but the problem is like we're 100 years later on, and also like how to say like.
Right, excellent. Then what you need to do is provide counter evidence.
Or no, or just not.
No.
Not even. I say there is also like a hadith saying.
Sorry, Didier.
Saying.
If you are going to reject it,
Yeah.
then you have to find counter evidence to reject it on that basis.
Okay, and what if
Find
there's
me
already there's a hadith saying that the Prophet said like do not write anything down for me except the Quran.
Is that all he said?
Huh?
Is that all he said? Did he say anything else after that?
Yeah, it comes every. Yeah. There's something comes after. Where's
Did
that
he
come-
also say, let me ask, since you are just pulling something, let me ask you, did he also say, anyone who attributes something falsely to me, let him know his place is in the fire?
Yeah, okay, but.
Right, now 1 second.
Uh-huh.
If he had forbidden the writing of anything about him, why did he say that?
Because he knew what people later on.
There are going to be people who will do that. But
Yeah.
then are there also going to be people who are going to write honestly?
Yeah.
There you are, no
But
problem.
at the end of the day, the people who are no. At the end of the day, the people who are who work with Satan or not also not.
That requires evidence.
Huh?
That requires evidence.
That Satan is going to try to change it.
You have to give me evidence which contradicts the information and guidance that Islam has.
Islam has.
You are going to have to give me evidence to establish that, look, this is satanic and it's not from God.
Satanic and it's not from God.
Yeah.
Okay, like for start, like Quran says like that's going to happen. And
No.
like,
The Quran doesn't say that. The Quran says they are going to be non-believers. Okay? You can't confuse the guidance with the non-believers.
No. It has not. No. Even like I say, like if the verse I we talk about monks and rabbis, they were also believers.
What did
So-
they do?
Eh?
What did they do?
They said like this is from God.
And it wasn't.
That wasn't from God.
Now, if we are looking at the Quran, is there anything we can say this is from God? Which this is going to sound odd. Which Muslim do you know of who says this hadith of the Prophet is from God?
No, they say it like immediately.
No. I'm asking you a direct
They
question.
don't do that. They don't do that.
They don't. 1 second. They don't do that. Is there any Muslim you know of who says that this statement in the Quran is not from God?
The statement is not from God.
Yeah. Do you know of any Muslim who does that?
No, because they are sure
One
about
second.
the Quran.
One
yeah?
second. Are you agreeing with me that nobody says that any statement attributed to the Prophet is from God? We agree.
Yeah.
Any statement that is in the Quran is not from God. We agree.
Yeah.
You agree? You do agree. So the comparison you made about what they did in the previous times doesn't fit.
No, but doesn't mean like Satan will try something.
Again, you are going speculation all the time.
No. Like two verses, like Satan is going to try to have like nice speeches that from chapter 6. 12.
Let me give you an example. Let me
Yeah.
give you an example. If a person nicely tells people to commit murder, is that Satan inspiring or God inspiring?
Satan.
Easy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And there are many people who have done that. We can attribute that.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
abortion.
Anybody, it doesn't matter. The question here, you are, like I've told you constantly, respectfully, you are confusing issues without realizing it. So the question is this that you answer in your head. No one says the statements of the Prophet are from God directly.
No.
Everyone says what is contained in the Quran is from the Creator directly.
Yeah.
All Muslims agree with that.
Yeah.
Now, if you tell me that, look, there are certain things which we might be able to attribute to the Prophet, but are not from the Prophet, I can agree with you. But you know why I can agree? Because I have got the ultimate yardstick in the Quran, which I can always fall back on. So there is no argument between the two.
Okay, but
what I would suggest,
But then I don't know. I found
last
like,
one, Sheikh.
Yeah.
I'll need to go. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
Sure.
What I found like it's like the Quran says about you can't follow something. There's conjecture in it.
Sorry, what was that?
Conjecture. You're not 100% sure.
What is?
Huh?
What is?
The hadith, for example, they're not 100% sure.
2 minutes ago, I said, if you tell me.
No. Okay, see, yeah, if you tell me this goes, you go to back.
No, I just said.
Okay, but like,
if you.
for example, Buhari, he came from 1 million of hadiths or so something, and then he. what
600,000.
600, a lot of numbers.
Yeah.
But then he compressed like onto like.
Stop there.
3,000 to
If you are going to accept that, are
Yeah.
you accepting the historical narrative?
What it is said,
Yes.
yeah, but doesn't
Are
have
you
to-
agreeing with that?
But no, it can also be a lie. Can be a
Well,
story.
one
It
second,
can
one
be a
second, one
story.
second. If you are going to disagree, then you are going to have to provide evidence, which up to now you have not been able to, because you are leaning only on speculation, brother. I said to you, okay, now if you are going to rely on that as evidence,
Yeah.
do you accept that? You just said no. The question then therefore arises this: if you do not accept that, you now need to provide counter evidence to reject that. Have you got any? No, you don't.
That is not conjecture.
That's just speculation on your
Well,
part.
okay, like for example, like this hadith is said like the prophet.
Stop, brother. I'm going to ask you this, and we'll cut here.
Yeah.
If somebody is giving you evidence
Yeah.
and you are not able to counter that evidence,
Okay.
one second,
Yeah.
and then you are going to rely on merely conjecture, should the conversation go forward?
In that case, no.
No, that's what I'm doing with you now.
Okay, but let me
Because
ask
you
you.
are following conjecture. and I'm
I'm
giving you evidence.
Hear me.
No,
But let
no.
me ask you.
Go ahead.
There's a hadith that says like the.
Wait, stop. You can't give me a hadith. Because you reject the idea of how it was
No, but
narrated.
the subject
No, you
is about-
can't. Sorry.
It's about the
Give me
hadith.
counter evidence.
Huh?
If you are going to talk about hadith, then
That-
you are going to say to me, I'm only using this for the purposes of my point that I'm trying to make. Do we
Yeah.
agree with that?
Yeah, that's for the point I'm trying to make.
Okay,
This hadith
but you
is
don't
all
accept
conjecture.
you don't accept the method or the science of hadith. You don't accept that.
No, it's not. No, it's not about that. I don't accept. No, it's like that you can.
Wait a minute. Do you accept?
That there is a science like that.
Yes.
I don't
Which
accept.
no. It's not about only the science. The science method adopted a certain criteria. Do you accept that criteria?
They try to use yes. But
You
that
agree?
is-
One
yes,
second.
yes, but let's say
So now,
bulletproof.
no, I'm not saying that either. The question
Yeah.
then, the third question, logically speaking, is
Yeah.
this. One, the science accepted, the criteria accepted, but these two were developed to establish what?
The validity,
The-
the truthfulness
Of what?
of the sayings,
Of what?
of the hadith.
The hadith.
Yeah.
Do you accept that?
Yeah.
Do you accept that?
That they have come to the thing. Yes.
Now, can you tell me 10 hadith? I'm just giving you an example.
Yeah.
10 hadith, which to your mind clearly can be rejected. Give me 10, because this is the point you are trying to make. Then give me 10, which we can clearly say, clearly verifiable, attributed to the Prophet. Can you do that? You know why you can't? You know why you can't do it?
Because I
Because you are
can't.
not familiar with the science at all.
No, but I also know. Neither.
So you're only working on
conjecture.
conjecture.
Just as you do.
I-
No, for example, I'll just give you an example. Like there's a hadith that's saying the Prophet never urinated standing. But there's another one says he urinated standing.
Sorry, yeah. So what's the
he
problem?
never did or he did.
Right, excellent.
What-
Now,
what is it
I'll
will
tell
take?
you. If I were to tell you both are agreeable, what's your problem?
No, so what does the word mean never?
I'll tell you. No, it never says never. It doesn't say never. Now, let me tell you this. Let me ask you, in fact.
Yeah.
Yes? Normally, the Muslim is told how to drink the water sitting or standing. How? You see,
According
you
to
see,
hadith.
yeah.
What I heard was like sitting down.
Okay. If normally we are supposed to sit down and drink,
Yeah.
and I'm stood here talking to you and I drink while standing, is that permitted? Sorry?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it won't damage you.
Now, if I were to tell you that in normal circumstances, when you go for the call of nature,
Yeah.
it should be sat down.
Yeah.
If, for example, you are in a, say, a jungle,
Yeah.
yes, and there was a danger of animals coming, and you urinated standing, would that be a problem?
No.
Now, if I were to ask you this very hadith that you talked about just now,
Yeah.
did you contextualize them? Do you know-
Situation.
Situationally, did you
No.
address them? You didn't, did you? So how can you just come and say there's a contradiction?
Okay, but
No.
I
First
took the-
answer
no, I
my
took-
question.
No, because I took the word like
You see,
never.
Yeah.
Never.
You see, did you actually, once you had a doubt, did you go to the source to establish whether it said that? You didn't, did you?
No, I read
This
only
is
the hadith.
this is the problem.
I only read the hadith.
Yeah,
I know.
the
I looked,
translation.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I know
You see,
Arabic.
but that's the problem, brother. I'm trying to establish to you, and this is what I want to finish with. If you raise an issue,
Yeah.
the most logical, rational, and reasonable thing to do is then to source out the information to find out whether what you are thinking is correct or not. And at this moment in time, all you are leaning on is pure conjecture. Now, if you want to attribute conjecture to the hadith, I would say no problem, but at least first establish how the science actually works and on what basis certain gradations have been given for you to be able to conclude their conjecture. Now, you know what I mean by that is, how old are you, brother?
27.
27. You are a young man, yeah? If you are going to throw everything out purely based on what you don't know, then you are doing a disservice to yourself.
No, it's not only about that. It's only like.
No, it's not only about that. You don't know, and if you don't know on simple things that are Googled, you are rejecting certain things. That's very illogical.
Yeah, but
Yeah?
even the.
What I mean by that,
hadith
brother,
says,
what
like, can't
sorry,
do- Yeah.
one second, I'll tell you what I mean. What do you study? Or what did you study? What do
Uh,
you work? Do you work?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Volvo cars.
You work for Volvo Cars. What do you do?
Manufacturing.
Oh, you are in the line, manufacturing line. Right, okay. Anybody who does something as a specialist,
Yeah.
okay, will have to study the subject matter.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
Studying. Yeah.
For example, my wife
Yeah.
is an optometrist. You know what that is?
Chinese.
No, somebody who tests eyes
Yeah.
to make sure that the eyes are good. An optician. We call them
optician.
opticians,
Okay.
yeah? But she is an optometrist, the one who actually tests the eyes, okay?
Yeah.
If I go into the opticians and I say, right, I'm going to test the eyes, would they agree?
No.
Why?
Because you don't have like the background. You don't know the science about it.
Sorry, what was that? I don't
The
know
science, the science.
Now, if you are agreeing for a normal thing, you yourself agreed you don't know the science, is on what basis should I have the discussion with you?
Yeah. Okay, but we're
Can you
talking-
see? The problem here is, Didier, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Human beings on the face of this earth seem to think they have the license to talk about collectively religion, even though they are clueless about it.
Okay, but then let me.
You
ask
can't do
this.
that, can you?
Okay.
That's being
okay,
unfair.
But then let's turn the question on you.
Okay.
You are
Turn.
once in a while. I've seen videos.
Sorry?
I've seen some videos talking about
Yeah.
to Christians.
Yes.
Do you got like a PhD in Christendom or something?
Right.
I don't think
okay.
so, eh?
Oh, okay. Listen. Forget about a PhD. Yeah?
No. But
One
you just
second,
asked
one
me,
second,
just say
one
I
second.
have to go read it.
No, I'll tell you why.
Or you can't do
I'll
the
tell
same.
you why. Because if you were to ask me,
Yeah.
how long did I take to study Christianity? What is my answer?
It's going to be quite some time.
No. What is my answer? Would you know?
No.
I will tell you over 20 years.
Yeah.
How many years have you done the study on hadith sciences?
think
You
like
haven't, have you?
No. I've been.
If you have, you are clueless about what it is.
no, I've
How
been,
can you say you studied it?
Once in a while, like studying, like think for 3 years.
Once in
4
a while.
years.
Once in a while. What does once in a while mean exactly?
Like say like.
Okay, in a total 1 year, how many months?
I would say at
2-3
least,
months?
Yeah, something.
2-3 months. A science that has taken hundreds of years.
Yeah,
you,
I got the work. No, I got
No,
life.
no,
I got
I
life.
no, I agree. But then this
There's
is
so many
exact-
subjects. Reading Qur'an. think-
Didier, you are agreeing with me.
Yeah.
You are actually agreeing with me when I told you, look, first ground yourself in the sciences, then confidently come and talk about it with me. Yeah? You asked me about Christianity, sincerely, as God is my witness, over 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay? I have spoken, how can I put it? I've had discussions, and I mean this sincerely. I'm not
Yeah,
trying to just say this.
no, don't
I have
want to feel,
sincerely had
how do you
this.
say,
Yes, I have had
offended.
discussions with professors from Cambridge University.
Yeah, we believe.
Why? Because I wanted to learn about it, and I nowhere would I go and start talking to my Christian friends, accusing them of left, right, and center without having actually established what they believe. I go this way. If my Christian friend tells me, I believe the Bible like this, I will say, okay, I will go on that.
Yeah.
What I won't do is go to him and tell him, listen, I know you believe the Bible this way, but I don't want you to believe it this way. I want you to believe it this way. That is illogical and unreasonable, isn't it?
But with the Bible, it's much easier.
Why?
Because when you take for example, like the letter from Paul, and compared to the teaching of defined like in the Gospel, you will see that they are talking about two things. Like for example, Jesus say like, "O Israel, your Lord is one Lord." Yeah. But then Paul goes and says like, "You got one God and one Lord." Yeah. So you see, he had already made like one changes.
Yes.
Or he goes like, Jesus said like, "How can you have eternal life?" For example.
But then you have to give our Christian friends the opportunity for them to explain to us what they make of the verses, isn't it? We can't just dismiss them.
Yeah, okay, but you will see most of the times they always go back to the teaching of Paul.
Absolutely, but that is because they have a certain belief.
Because they are like in a highway.
Okay, but you need to understand why they have come to that understanding, isn't it? Yeah.
They start from this until they are this.
Exactly, but look, for example, are you familiar with the Catholic Catechism?
The book that I wrote, the 400 questions and answers. Yeah,
the first thing they say about the Trinity, how do they explain it?
I don't remember.
Right, okay, fine. But that is what they say. Yeah. Now, we want to look at that. If they tell us that is what they believe, we want to address what they believe.
Yeah.
You can't just say, no, it doesn't matter what you believe, I'm saying this.
No.
It's illogical.
It's saying it's like also the hadith I said like don't write anything besides. Then I ask why do the people follow it?
Yeah.
Because I started like with the verse like 46:9 that the Quran says like I only follow what has been revealed to me.
Yes.
And also chapter 10. Yeah. But then when I go to nowadays Muslim, then I see like they start to follow something besides than what was revealed.
Well,
Muhammad.
like I said,
that was my question.
Like I said, no, agreed. But like I said, email address has been exchanged. Go and do a bit more reading and then critically assess it. Conjecture is fine in its place, but if you are going to rely merely on conjecture to try and validate your point, that is highly unreasonable and illogical.
I don't know, but my story is like what I took from the hadith. Or what people...
Over 3 months.
No, I said like, I mean, that's something that came in my mind
I know,
3
and
years
you are just
ago.
asking. You are just asking. That's fair enough.
When you,
but like I said...
like for example, I studied like 2 weeks, then I got no time, I'm busy with something else.
Finish.
I
know.
Else.
Yeah. Didier,
okay,
a pleasure meeting. Anything untoward, please do forgive me. That was not the intention. Okay. You've got the email, definitely drop me a line. Okay, Didier, sorry. Where is he going? Just give me 1 second. Assalamu alaikum.